We're here. The 114th stanza of The Art of Peace. Last one. I think we started back in July. I think it was mid-July, maybe July 23rd, I think. And from there, I have shared with you, and you have shared with me, time every weekday morning for 23 weeks or 114 days. We haven't missed a single day. I've had lots of wonderful interactions with many of you online, some in person, not many. Some of you I have interacted with around great tragedy, the tragedy of Andy McCaffrey. You know, compassion to his wife Karen and all the members of that community, of this community. We've seen really massive kind of things play through this time, the election, the rise of the immense power and also tragedy of the pandemic. We've seen a lot of disruption to just the way things have always been, the disruption of white supremacy, of any notion that everything is equal and that there's equity. We've seen that become a fragile, transparent notion. Just doesn't hold up. We've seen interactions around how we tell our history, how we interact with our history. In particular, the Black Lives Matter movement. We've seen that really come to kind of a powerful expression, especially in Richmond, Virginia. I mean, to watch the way Monument Avenue, which was a shrine to white supremacy, to watch that essentially come down and be taken over by the truth. We've seen that happen. We've had to confront aspects of our identity as Americans in ways that I think a lot of people really just don't want to do or don't like. It doesn't feel good. I mean, heck, I didn't want to do it either. But what we've ultimately come through is transformative experience. But that transformative experience has come at the cost of our notions of transcendence. The notion that we've kind of achieved any particular status or goal, or achieved any particular way of being that's perfect, or that we've kind of solved our problems. All those kind of myths have been pretty well broken up, and in some instances we've created new myths, and in other instances we've crumbled under the confrontation of the realities, and then in some ways we've started to kind of reground ourselves in truths that are immutable. And so what I want to say as the cumulative understanding of this, my third Art of Peace practice, is that it's all part of one family. The rejection of the old way, the rejection of the new way, the space in between, the crumbling under the weight of it all, the moving forward under the weight of it all. It's all part of one family. And moving forward, it's important for us to understand that, because if we can understand that everything's included, from the most depraved and ridiculous to the most beautiful and transcendent, it's all included. And for us as individuals, if we can learn how to be with the whole picture as opposed to particular chunks of the picture, we can play a very positive role in creating a broader, stable ground that we can build off of, and that we can accept those that have kind of gotten lost in another myth or lost in their ways. We accept those people back in. We can really be grounded in kind of a broader truth that accepts everything as part of that family, part of the family, the whole family. And in truth, that's really the only way we can do it. We can't individually or even collectively assume, even with lots of progress, even with statues, even with wealth, even with power, we can't assume that our way's the right way. What we have to assume is that what we are experiencing or what we are knowing isn't the entirety. And we need to learn that we can do the best that we can with the perspectives that we kind of have as our truths, but we have to make room for everything else. And the way to do that is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness connects everything. And the reason why it connects everything is because mindfulness is emptiness. And emptiness allows everything to be inside of it. There's no limit to what empty can hold. And if we can practice being mindful, then we can practice interacting with the stuff that shows up in us when we interact with things that are different or outside of our understanding. And each and every time we do that, we get a little bit better at doing that. And every time we get a little bit better at interacting with what shows up inside of us, we get a little bit better at interacting with those that kind of are engaging with us that we may not kind of have a particular shared ground. And so we create shared ground with mindfulness. We create the connection through this ability to take whatever's coming, recognize it, interact with it, and put back out our best self. We first bell it, right? We engage with what's going on, right? Whatever's coming, whatever's enacting with us, we engage with it. We don't push it away. Bell two, we feel it inside of ourselves. We recognize it as beyond just an intellectual idea or a construct or whatever. We see it in an embodied way. It's bell two. And then in bell three, we interact with it. Whether we move in, whether we back up, whether we stay our ground, whether we move around, whether we move back, we interact. And that's bell three. And then bell four is having engaged with what we are engaged with, having checked it out, having embodied it, having interacted with it, we then put forward the best version of ourselves, whether it's gratitude, just gratefulness for how it all played out, or it's compassion, where it's we recognize the suffering and we offer our goodwill. That takes practice. It's not a fix-all. It is simply a framework. And the framework, however, can be applied at any given time. It can be applied to something external. It can be applied to something internal. But what happens is as you practice, which is fundamental, you can't get out of practice has to be fundamental. But as we practice, we get better at it. And as we get better at it, we get better at seeing all the little layers that we just never noticed before, that we just kind of allowed to be and didn't really pay any mind, or just assume that's the way it was. As we notice these layers, and as they begin to come off, as we begin to armor down, life offers variety, majesty, and wonder that you never would have noticed before, and that is never ending. And so I'll finish by saying, yet again, I am appreciative and in awe by the way that life continues to evolve and unfold in ways that are unique, special, exciting, terrifying, powerful, big, small, hard, easy, enlightening, stupefying, all of it. I continue to be in awe of life. And I continue to believe that life is there to play a positive role and to play a supportive role in how I experience being alive. And so I hope that you find a similar relationship to life. This will be the last practice of the art of peace that will kind of trigger my week off next week. And I guess I won't start back until the new year. So I'll begin kind of back. I'll get back on the screen during the new year. Armor down, social media and everything will still go on, but the morning mindfulness won't start again until January 1st. So I'll start that back up again. In the same fashion, we'll be going through the 4 bells, but we will have a different we'll be studying different things besides the art of peace. So anyway, let's do a final practice. And there's no need for a whole bunch of fanfare. I mean, it's just practice, right? We just that's what we do. We practice being present, practice mindfulness, practice the 4 bells. Now we're going to take a break, and just when the first comes, we'll start again. Nothing too profound about that. I apologize, but really, I mean, that's the key. Is practice. So follow your cues to comfort. Get yourself as comfortable as you can, and then say to yourself, all right, how can I make myself 2 to 5% more comfortable? Maybe there's a little shift that you can make that would just be like, okay, that's a little bit better. All right. Once you've got that, let's go ahead and make a decision before we start, or you make the decision before you start if you want to have your eyes open or closed. I'm going to close my eyes. Here comes first bell. What do you hear? Where do you hear what you hear? What do you smell? If there's nothing to smell, what does the emptiness of smell smell like? What do you taste? If you don't taste anything, what's it like to put your attention on the taste of nothing? What do you feel? Maybe it's temperature, maybe it's breeze, maybe it's cushion, maybe it's firmness, maybe it's fabric of clothing. Notice your ground. Notice the ground beneath you. Notice what parts of your body are touching the ground. Move up. Notice the pelvis. Pelvis is the base of the spine. Make any adjustments as needed. Follow that to the core. Let the core relax. Let any tension, any pulling in go. Come up to the heart space. Any slight movement around the shoulder blades. Notice the collarbones. Throat. Notice the throat. An opportunity here to get a little bit more kind of dialed into the moment. You can maybe feel a swallow. If you collect the saliva in your mouth and swallow it down, you can notice sensation at the throat. You might be able to feel air moving up and down your throat. And you might be able to feel the temperature difference of air coming in and air moving out. Move up to the head. Notice the top of the head, top of the spine. See if you can identify the centermost point of your head. Maybe even try to feel the hair follicles at the very centermost point of your head. And then imagine that point getting taller by just a millimeter. Feel how the thought of getting taller by a millimeter might move other parts of your body, shifting the way your muscles are holding your alignment. Notice that and kind of assess its comfort, as comfortable as you want it to be. Feel your face, jaw, soften the eyes, Soften the nose, soften the mouth. Notice your baseline breath, just your breath as it is. Then go to a maximum inhale. Let that go. Now, what would you like to do based off of how your first bell and second bell went? What feels right? How to interact with your body as it is right now through your breathing. So maybe there's a expansion upward, feeling the breath expand into the shoulders. Maybe there's a expansion downward into the belly, feeling the belly and the sides expand. Maybe it's two parts, so feeling the belly and the shoulders. So breathing in, feeling the belly expand, and then feeling that expansion move up into the shoulder space. Maybe it's just quiet, and just sitting with the quiet is enough. Armor down, friends. I am so grateful to have had this opportunity to interact with you, teach you, learn from you, share with you, laugh, cry. Granted, it's been a digital experience in many, many ways, but offshooting from these digital experience has been real world experience and real connection. And I'm just so grateful for that. So thank you. For all of you out there that are still really struggling, that are still having a really difficult time with the different layers that make up your lives, my heart opens to you. To all the veterans out there who have made every effort to get on a normal, grounded path, and life just keeps throwing massive obstacles in their way. I hear you and I feel you, and my heart opens to you. And I hope that these moments, these mindful moments, are at the very least moments of peace, moments that you can count on, moments that may help get you through some of the tough things that you're having to go through. My heart opens to you, and I open my arms to you as a invitation to train and to reach out and to connect, and just know that you're not alone, and that there are people more than just me that are really putting their best foot forward to be useful, not just for your sake, but for theirs as well. Because you'll often find that the people that are trying to put the most good out there are putting it out there because the pain that they feel is a wound that can only be healed with the compassion that they send to others. And so their pain and your pain create love and connection. And that love and connection is what creates a life worth living. So know that it's never a burden to be helpful and to be a resource and to be an open heart for someone in need. And know that if you are struggling, reach out. And in that moment, in that act of reaching out, the armor comes down. And when that happens, the opportunity to be the best version of yourself, of ourself, of all of ourselves, really becomes manifest. So with that, we'll end the practice with 2 breaths, making the second exhale the finishing moment. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for participating with this year's 2020 Art of Peace. What a year. I'll see you in 2021 in this format, but I'm also going to be online, and so totally accessible. But thanks again for training, knowing that you are here, knowing that you are working with me has made all the difference. So thanks. Later, Armor Down. See you in the new year.